Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be giving you 4 more tips to help improve your backhand distance. We figured we'd make another video as my first video. If you haven't seen it, I made 6 months ago talking about 4 backhand distance killers. And so figured I'd make another video, and today I have a professional disc golfer, Avi, joined with me. So he'll be giving you a couple tips, I'll be giving you a couple tips, and hopefully you can start throwing further today. So let's get into it.
My first tip is to reach out to the left. That helps me make sure that I'm pulling through and creating a nice power pocket, and that prevents rounding. What I see a lot of people do is they'll try to reach back, and instead they'll overreach, and then that wastes energy and that makes you less accurate. So by reaching out to the left, that avoids any of that, and naturally the disc is going to want to come in towards you when you pull through. So then that will create a nice power pocket and therefore a cleaner release.
All right, so if we take a look at Avi's form here, you can see that when he reaches back, that he actually reaches slightly in front of him during his active position, during his reach back. And if we actually take a closer look and we zoom in, you can see it's not directly 90 degrees behind him. If anything, it's 15 degrees in front of him. And when he pulls through, it allows the disc to pull in a straight line, having a great power pocket, and eventually allows him to release the disc very cleanly forward, having a much more accurate throw, much more powerful throw, and allows him to be able to do this consistently. Now, I'll show you guys an example of poor technique. Funny enough, this used to be my old disc golf form from about a year ago, but you can see that when I reach back more than 90 degrees behind me. And funny enough, this also applies to people that reach directly 90 degrees behind them. And the reason this is a problem is because when you pull the disc forward, you can see that the disc is lagging behind the shoulder and doesn't allow you to create the power pocket where the disc goes by your chest. And the main problem with this is it causes this semicircular like motion when you end up releasing the disc. And this ultimately negatively impacts your driving consistency and accuracy, and most importantly, your distance. So this is exactly what you do not want to do if you want to throw further backhand distance shots.
All right, guys, so the second tip to help improve your distance is timing. The number one problem I see with backhand timing is when people reach back too early in their X step. And this causes them to have incorrect timing, and they're unable to link their upper body with their lower body. And this lack of synergy, for lack of a better term, prevents you from throwing the disc far. So how I used to throw is while I was performing my X step, I would reach back early and then pull through before I had any weight on my front foot. And that would cause me to kind of use way more upper body energy to try to get the disc to go far. And so to correct this, I feel like the number one tip is to focus on keeping your body and arm very centered, and don't even focus on reaching back until after the second step of your X step. But when you do your first step and second step, you're keeping your body very neutral. You're not activating any parts of your body. And then once you plant your second step in your X step and you're moving your third step forward is when you reach back, and that causes you to get into your active position at the right time, where you're putting your weight on your front foot and your arms fully active. At this point, you're kind of ready to finally pull the disc forward, and this will allow you to have your lower body and hips link with your upper body and eventually have you throw further. And the key thing with timing as well is not spending too much time on your back foot. So as I mentioned, when you're in that active position and you're ready to pull forward, you'll notice a lot of professional level players, guys that can throw really far, when they're active, their toe is almost off the ground and they're putting a lot of weight on their front leg. They're loading their leg, which allows them to link their upper body and lower body and have efficient energy transfer and eventually throw the disc really far.
All right, guys, so here's a video of a player that has not so ideal backhand timing. There are 2 key factors I want you to focus on in this slow motion video. The first being when the player reaches back into their active position. So as you can see here, the player is performing the first step in their X step and is about to perform their second. and they are already reaching back into their active position. The reason that this is a problem and leading cause of poor backhand timing is that when they pull the disc through, when this clip continues, they are pulling through without their third step being fully planted. And so basically they're throwing with only their upper body and are too far back on their back foot. And so this causes you to not even use your lower body in the throw. Now here's a slow motion video of Avi's form, where you can see that during the second step of his X step, his upper body is relatively neutral and his disc is close to his chest. And when he activates into his reach back position, you can see that while he's fully reaching back, his back foot is nearly off the ground. And this causes him to have all his weight nearly on his front foot and allows his body to be primed and ready to pull through. And ultimately, this links the lower and upper body and allows for correct backhand timing.
Tip number 3 is just pretend like you're sliding your disc across a table. So this has really helped me with not swooping or reaching too high. You want to pretend like you're sliding your hand across the table basically. So then all that's changing is the nose angle of the disc. So if you're trying to throw an Anheuser, you do more like that, and then Heiser. So all that's changing is the nose angle. It makes it easier to not have inconsistency with nose down or two nose up. All right, so a common mistake I see is people try to reach back too high in the beginning. What this does is they try to bring it down so as they're pulling through, but then they end up putting the nose up. That creates inefficient energy loss and just wasted energy. So when you're pretending that you're sliding it across the table, that allows you to transfer your energy better and not waste energy.
So here's a video of Avi throwing and attempting to slide the disc across the table. To Avi and I's surprise, we noticed that he actually dips slightly. And if you notice, in his reach back, he's actually in a fairly neutral position, but then when he pulls through into his power pocket, his disc dips slightly. And this could be a cause for a loss of energy. And although this is a minor problem, fixing this may be an important factor in helping him throw well over 500 feet. Now here's a video of me throwing. And when Avi first taught me this tip, it was actually a huge benefactor into me gaining a lot of distance and consistency in my backhand throw. As you can see, when I reach back after my second X step, that I try to keep the disc very flat and continue to have it pretty flat during my throw, allowing me to correctly slide the disc across the table.
So here's tip number 4. It is to prevent elbow dip. And the number one way that I've learned to prevent elbow dip is to arm the disc. Now, before I explain that, let's talk about what elbow dip is. Similar to what Avi was talking about in the previous tip, he talked about pulling the disc on top of a table so that your disc stays on an even plane. And so he mentioned a lot of people will reach high to low to high and do like kind of a swooping, or people that throw high and then flatten out. So that obviously has a lot of energy loss. For elbow dip, or what elbow dip is most people will reach high and then chop across their shoulder and then level the disc out and throw flat. This is something I used to struggle with 5-6 months ago. And this tip that I'm going to share with you helped correct that. The way to correct elbow dip is something called arming the disc. It is something that other coaches talk about. And to do this, you want to pretend like you're arm wrestling with someone and you want to win the arm wrestle. So this creates this 90-degree power pocket is what we call it. And you want to do this, grab your disc, and this is how your elbow should be when you're pulling the disc through and across that table. If you take some slow-mo videos of yourself and you notice that you're ever dipping, try to win the arm wrestle, grab your disc, and practice doing some standstills, trying to just keep this motion and hopefully prevent you from dipping the elbow. In my personal experience, I noticed that I would lose 3 to 4 miles per hour of arm speed, or in terms of distance, it would be around 30 to 50 feet of power And I would be putting so much pressure on my shoulder to correct at the last second to get that extra distance that I wanted, that it actually put a lot of stress on my shoulder, and it can cause injuries. So if you want to gain more distance, prevent injuries, definitely try to grip the disc like this and keep that elbow pretty in line with sliding your disc across that table.
All right, guys, so this is a video of me emulating my old form, and this is exactly what you should not do if you want to prevent chopping your shoulder. So, as you can see in my reach back, my disc is nearly, or actually is parallel with my head, and the flight plate of the disc is facing towards the camera. And this causes me to obviously pull the disc down, chopping my shoulder where my elbow and disc has a negative angle towards the ground. And obviously you don't want to throw like that, so you're going to overcorrect and want to level the disc out and throw it out flat. This causes inefficient energy transfer and prevents you from throwing far.
All right, guys, that does it for this video. We hope these 4 tips help you throw farther today. We really wanted to highlight these common mistakes that a lot of people do and hopefully help you on your disc golf journey to throwing much farther. I'd like to thank Avi personally for coming out and filming this video with me.
Yeah.
If you don't know him, he's my sponsored player under Disc Zone. And for those of you that don't know Disc Zone, I am the co-owner of Disc Zone, which is a disc golf store in Santa Cruz, California. We recently opened up a year ago. I have a bunch of discs online and in person, so if you want to check that out.
Yeah, make sure to go check them out at www.disczone.com. They have some sweet stuff, so make sure to go check them out.
That would be awesome. But besides that, that kind of does it for this video. If you want to support us, I'll put all the links in the description below, but we'll catch you in the next video.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
See you in the next one.